In the rap industry, there are always rappers dissing other rappers as a means for more publicity, except sometimes they tend to go too far and cause things that no one expected to happen. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video.
Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane.
Going along pretty alright. You know, y'all both repping the A. I thought it was a real man, but you know, they're carbon copy, man.
This one could have easily been number 1 if it wasn't for the insanity of a certain rapper, but this one definitely deserves to be on this list for the complete line crossing that went on here. For those that don't know, Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane had a beef that went far beyond music, and by that I mean it had real life brawls and real life consequences, not the least of which was the passing of Henry Pookie Lock Clark III, a dear friend of Young Jeezy. What's worse, this was done at the hand of Gucci Mane. He claimed it was self-defense and was not charged with the passing, but in his song Truth, he aimed this diss right at Young Jeezy. Go dig your partner up, bet he can't say, and if you're looking for the kid, I'll be in zone 6. I mean, really? It's bad enough that you had to take a person's life, self-defense or not, but then go and just straight up diss that life and point it out to Young Jeezy? That's cold and wrong on so many levels. You don't do that, you just don't. Lil Pump versus Chinese rappers.
And I came here to tell you from my part that I'm sorry and I apologize for posting that. It was not my intentions.
Not all disses are meant to be direct insults at people. Sometimes they're derogatory insults on a whole culture, meant to make the person who sings them feel better about themselves, which brings us to Lil Pump. Lil Pump made a track called Butterfly Doors, which for the record is a reference to a specific kind of door luxury cars have. Lil Pump really likes cars, and so it made sense that he would go and make tracks like this. This wasn't the issue though. The issue was that he went and made the following a lyric in his song: smoking on dope. They call me Yao Ming cause my eyes real low, ching chong. You can just hear the controversy coming off of this, am I right? Let's start with the meaning of it. Throughout history, there are stereotypes about what other races look like and sound like, depending on the nation you're in. In the United States, the stereotype of Chinese people is that they have pointed eyes that are very low on their heads compared to others, and that their language sounds like ching chong, among other things. It's a very sad and very inaccurate look at the country of China, and for Lil Pump to not only say this line, but call out one of the country's modern heroes, Yao Ming, a famous NBA star during his time with the league, as a reference to who he is, that line was bound to bring negative feedback from the country and its native people, and it did. Many Chinese rappers came forward and condemned Lil Pump for what he did. As if that wasn't enough, they then went and made sure they got payback, including writing a song called Lil Pump, not only calling out his actions, but of the country he was from as well. The fact is, you and the white race is the same. Respect yourself, you've suffered the pain. You don't know anything about the history, because you a nation of immigrants, and you really won't take it serious. Check it out on those Indians. One group raps. The backlash from the line/diss was so strong that Lil Pump not only had to make a public apology, but also go and re-edit both the song Butterfly Doors and the music video so that he didn't say the line, and show off the motion to the low eyes. And we could probably take a bet as to whether Lil Pump will do something this stupid again. I think the numbers would be over that he does. Drake versus NBA teams.
He's our Jack Nicholson. You can go all over the world and they'll know who Drake is.
Let's go a bit off kilter for a bit, because as we all know, just because a rapper disses someone, it doesn't always mean that it's against another rapper. And in the case of Drake, he once did a diss during the NBA Finals just by being Drake. Now for those who are curious as to how Drake can truly pop off in the NBA Finals when he's just a fan, I mean, we've all heard of celebrities being a part of the NBA in some way, such as the legendary Jack Nicholson having season tickets to the Lakers and being there every year, or Spike Lee being an avid fan of the New York Knicks and being a very passionate fan of the sidelines. The difference between superfans like Nicholson and Lee versus a guy like Drake is that he actually has a power in regards to the Toronto Raptors organization. Mainly, he's got the title of Global Ambassador. This was given to Drake because of his association with Toronto and all the work that he's done in the city. Drake was born in Toronto, and despite some hardships that he's faced over the years in the city, he still loves it very much, and he's used his fame and money to help build the city up in many ways. Add to that, he's one of the biggest rappers in the world, with a value in the 150 million range, and a very passionate fan base behind him. So for the Raptors, a team that has often been referred to as a middle-range NBA franchise, they felt a definitive need to have a big name like Drake be associated with him, so thus he became the global ambassador, and he has great seats right on the front row in home games in Toronto, and he uses those seats to both cheer the team and more. Once the game begins, Drake goes full fan and dedicates himself to building the Raptors up as much as possible, all the while mocking the Golden State Warriors whenever he gets the chance. And it's more than just yelling, he'll go and shout out help if he thinks it'll work. He'll appreciate what other players are doing, and in one case he actually went up to Coach Nick Nurse and gave him a shoulder rub after a live ball scenario went the Raptors' way. He's really into it, and that's what makes Drake such a joy, if you're a Raptors fan anyway, to watch during the games. That being said, at times he does push things a little too far, and that's why the Warriors voiced their displeasure of what Drake did on the sidelines in the NBA Finals. But that being said, it's not illegal, and so he can go and do what he wants to a certain extent. However, he has almost gotten into altercations with other players by doing various fan disses of them as they passed by, and while no fists were thrown, it was these moments that caused the Drake factor to be born, and for better or worse, it's gonna remain. A$AP Rocky versus Rita Ora. As you're gonna see on this list, there are many ways to cross the line when it goes to disses, and for one A$AP Rocky, he decided to let off his frustrations on a former flame of his, Rita Ora, in his song Better Things, and yeah, it got ugly, really ugly. I swear that Rita Ora got a big mouth. Next time I see her, might curse them out. Kicked them out once cause she spit my kids out up all in her mouth and made them bounce. I refuse to detail all the things that these lyrics say, but I'm pretty sure you can paint yourself a picture of all that is going on here, both good, bad, and ugly. Now yeah, no doubt there are plenty of explicit songs out there, but usually the rapper will go and say a random girl's name to give the song a feeling, or just use a base word for a girl, not do this. Can you imagine Rita Ora's reaction when she heard this? I bet arguments were had, no doubt. Eminem versus his family.
Each other about anything. I guess that was a big thing in a relationship, but I don't know if he was a good husband or not, really.
Eminem has lived a very hard life in his own way. In some ways, it parallels to the expectations of what rappers are supposed to go through in order to find the fire to make music. And there's no doubt that Eminem's early struggles led to certain feuds within his family. Eminem's father abandoned his mother and him when he was only a few years old, and his mother had a hard time keeping a job, so they had to move around a lot, and that affected him even more. Where the disses, that came early in his rap career, because Eminem's resentment against his mother went into the song Cleaning Out My Closet, where he revealed some of the things that his mother had done to both him and herself over the course of his youth, including substance use on her part and physically mistreating him. His mother was so appalled by this that she actually tried to sue him for slander. It didn't work out for her, but you could sense that the relationship was shattered because of what he did. Then there was his now ex-wife Kim, who he had a very tumultuous relationship with during his career, including getting divorced and then getting remarried to her. They had a daughter named Haley too, but when they decided to separate, he tried to be fair and share custody of Haley, but she went behind his back and tried to get full custody and make sure he couldn't see her anymore. He fired back in many ways, including a song called Kim. Eventually the two worked it out, but those wounds still hurt Eminem and Kim. Was it really bad of Eminem to voice out his frustration about Kim and his mother like this? It honestly was. After the song Kim came out, she honestly tried to take her own life. She failed, but she still tried to do it. And then she sued Eminem because of the mental pain the song and the stunt on stage with a doll named Kim did to her. As of now, Kim and Eminem have a respectable relationship, but you can bet that both sides still feel the stings of what each one did to the other, and that's how you know these things went too far. Kanye West versus Drake.
The first album drops, and of course there's a diss song towards me that you produced.
When it comes to the top rappers in the game, they only rarely go after each other because game respects game. Yet sometimes very personal fights between rappers come to light. One of the biggest and craziest feuds to ever come forward because of this was Kanye West versus Drake. In late December 2018, Drake wanted to go and remix a song that he and Kanye had done together once upon a time, but because it was a collaboration, he needed Kanye's permission to do so. For the record, this was very standard for collaboration songs so that one side doesn't try and cash in and leave the other side with nothing. Thus, he made a call to Kanye to ask for his go-ahead. The reply? Well, let's just say that Kanye not so politely made it clear that Drake would never get his permission. On the phone call, he apparently exploded on Drake until Drake hung up because he knew he was going to get what he asked for. But it didn't stop there. Kanye went online and actually did a 3-hour Twitter rant that started off with his version of the phone call with Drake and then developed into a random rant about, well, anything that came across his mind. Even other celebrities jumped in to either support Kanye or blast him for what he was doing. The worst part of it though is that he claimed that Drake actually threatened his wife Kim Kardashian and their children, which if you know Drake, he would never do. He'd threaten Kanye, but never his family. But that's not how Kanye saw it apparently. It was a sad and very stupid series of events, and it was perfectly Kanye for what he was going through mentally at the time via his bipolar disorder. The irony though is that Drake and Kanye were once really close. Drake even credited Kanye with helping him become a rapper via his music, and they would later team up and start collaborating on songs. So there's no doubt that they were good friends, even great friends depending on how you look at it. But then a switch of sorts flipped in Kanye West and suddenly decided that Drake wasn't his friend anymore. So he started insulting him publicly in his music and more, to the extent that he even used his own song to allege that Drake had an illegitimate son, which quite ironically Drake did have, but he didn't want to admit it at first for one reason or another. Still, whether it was true or not, that's not something that you do to a guy. To our knowledge, Drake and Kanye have never made up, and Kanye has definitely not apologized for what he said about Drake, and that's not likely to change, to be honest. Eminem versus Donald Trump.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not.
When it comes to the President of the United States of America, it would be an understatement to see that people aren't happy with him. Between his actions against people of both this country and across the world, the lying nature that many people call him out on, and more, he's arguably the most controversial person on the planet. Now, usually rappers are one of the last people to get political because they're usually the ones getting oppressed by the law, and thus are trying to avoid it at all costs. But sometimes they lash out, and that's what Eminem has done with Trump multiple times. In a rather infamous bit, he did a 4-minute freestyle rap on BET once and had most of it focused on Donald Trump. We better give Obama props, because what we got in office now is a kamikaze that'll probably cause a nuclear holocaust. The rapper addresses Trump's unsavory political alliances and his mishandling of events in Charlottesville. From his endorsement of Bannon, support for the Klansmen, tiki torches in hand, for the soldiers that's black and comes home from Iraq and is still told to go back to Africa. Did he stop there? Of course not. He kept going about how Trump decided to focus on the NFL and its problems rather than the country and the country's problem. Now, if you're a black athlete, you're a spoiled little brat for trying to use your platform or your stature to try to give those a voice who don't have one. You get an enormous reaction when he attacks the NFL, so we focus on that instead of talking Puerto Rico or reform for Nevada. All these horrible tragedies, and he's bored and would rather cause a Twitter storm with the Packers. Now, while many noted in reaction to that freestyle rap that it wasn't the best that Eminem has ever done, that wasn't the point. He was trying to speak the truth about what was going on in the country in regards to Trump, and every insult that he spewed, or at the very least the ones that I noted here, are backed up by facts. This wasn't a diss track that was made weeks before. It was a freestyle rap from the heart that he wanted to show his frustration on. When the rap went live on Twitter, it got retweeted over 500,000 times, and even people who aren't associated in the genre in the slightest took note of the freestyle beef and praised Eminem for what he did, including outspoken journalist for ESPN, Keith Olbermann. Did you think it was over there? Because that freestyle happened before Kamikaze, the president decided to respond in his own way to the freestyle rap, so Eminem fired back on the album. Sent the Secret Service to meet in person to see if I really think of hurting him, or ask if I'm linked to terrorists. I empathize with the people this evil serpent sold a dream to that he's deserted. While it's hard to prove that the Secret Service really did go visit Eminem, given Trump's record, it's definitely not impossible to think did that. As for the last line, many people have noted that many of the campaign promises that Trump had said he would implement upon being president haven't come to pass. Like I said, most times rappers don't get political. It's not what they like to do, but this shows that when the situation is dire enough, they'll get involved and make their feelings known on the matter, and that is to be respected. Now, you can say that it went too far because the president felt threatened enough to send the Secret Service, but given Eminem's state of being when he made that rap, physical violence was never going to happen. Still, this rap had one heck of a result, don't you agree? And there you have it, a series of rappers who have spoken a bit too much, and as a result has gotten their reputation and some of their friendships hurt in a big way. Which of these rappers' disses do you think went too far? Do you think that they could have been re-ending it to make it less impactful? Do you know another rapper diss that went too far? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.